I wasn't able to do something on the laptop. I had so many other things going on. My mind was so full. I was under big deadlines and my laptop was not working. Like the keys weren't working. So I just picked it up and launched it and I left a hole within the wall. Hello and welcome back to the She Leads the Way podcast. I'm your host, Nicki Bedford, and today I want to talk about how to move through feelings of overwhelm and stress, as well as 5 ways to increase productivity. I was thinking to myself, what should we talk about today? And I thought, okay, well, what am I feeling right now? At the moment, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed and a little stressed. And I thought, okay, well, let's talk about it. It's such a normal part of life, going through overwhelm or times of stress. And sometimes it's really about recognizing how you're feeling so that you can move through it more effectively. When I think about the experiences that I've had with overwhelm or stress in the past, I can see just how far I've come, particularly in the last sort of like 5 to 10 years, how I would handle certain situations. While now I don't feel like I'm perfect when it comes to stress, I know that I can recognize the signs a lot quicker and I can move through to get on top of it a little bit more. The reason that I'm feeling quite overwhelmed and stressed now is because I'm sort of doing something for the very first time, in that I'm building something from scratch. So I've always sort of worked in companies and now I'm sort of trying to build a company of my own. And so what comes out is it's a new feeling of what the hell am I doing? And you're doing new things every single day and you're learning new things. And the feelings of overwhelm and stress can also be considered excited, but it's just this flurry of everything's going on at 1,000,000 miles per hour in your head. When people experience stress, it's usually in different life cycles. They come, they go. It's based on perhaps what you're going through with work, things that are going on in your personal life. And it's really important to know that not all stress or feelings of overwhelm are actually a negative thing. It's positive in the way that you know that you're alive for starters and you can feel things. Sometimes stress is an indication that what you're thinking about is important to you, but above all else, being able to understand and recognize stress and how it makes you feel, you'll feel so much better afterwards, having known that you've been able to grow through it. That euphoric feeling about getting past something really is like nothing else. I like to liken it to, when you have a fever and your body is just absolutely regenerating and recharging and you can't move for a couple of days, but then after the fever passes, you feel on top of the world. You've got this newfound sense of life because you feel like you haven't had one in the last couple of days. So I don't know, that's how I sort of liken stress sometimes, particularly from a work perspective, when it's an event that you might be most nervous about, or when it's a milestone at work that you're trying to conquer. The first thing for me that came to mind when I was thinking about stress was when it was my first keynote presentation that I needed to give. And I was so excited when I was offered this opportunity to speak in a keynote. Very soon after I was given that opportunity, I was laced with anxiety, fear, and then what ensued the next 8 weeks was just stress. I was so stressed about how I would come across. I was stressed about the talk, what I would talk about, whether people would care what I'm talking about. I got myself in such a bind for 8 weeks and it was relentless. I wasn't able to sleep. I just wasn't handling it very well whatsoever. And it was something that I wanted to do. In that moment with my first keynote, I would say that I didn't handle it very well mentally. From the outside, I probably looked like I was living my life. But on the inside, I was just vacant. As the end date started to approach and I was ready to give the presentation, the feelings of stress naturally increased and increased and increased, as did the anxiety. And then once I gave my presentation and, it went really well and I was extremely happy with the outcome, that feeling afterwards was euphoric. I felt like I had achieved something. I felt like I had put my body through a really tough time and then came out of it, and I was really proud of myself. So there are times where stress can be a really good thing, and it's quite funny because I always think about this time giving this first keynote presentation because I never thought that I was going to be able to do them. And then as I continued to do them, I started to improve, and then it became second nature. Now I help other people have the confidence to do them as well. This bout of stress is such a natural part of life, And it's something that when we think about stress or overwhelm, it's something that we need to expect in life, that we're never going to ever be able to avoid being stressed. We're never ever going to be able to avoid being overwhelmed. So when those feelings do arise, think, okay, well, I'm ready for the challenge. And sometimes it's really nice to redirect that energy too. For me, in this instance with the keynote, because I did do following keynotes, I was still nervous every single time, but it became less and less as I started to become more confident at what I was doing. But instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, I don't know what I'm doing, is everything going to be okay? I started thinking, I am so excited. I am so excited at this. Being excited and being stressed, or being excited and being anxious sometimes is the same feeling. And so I would just tell myself that I was just so excited. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. This is amazing. And it really did help me. It really did help me. Being stressed is also a way of your body telling you that it's operating in the right way. So a stress response could be if you went into the kitchen and touched the hot pan and, oh my gosh, it's so hot. You'll never do that again because your stress response is telling you, don't touch a hot pan again. But beyond that, stress in a positive way is also demonstrating that you're able to be resilient and move through times where your body is being pushed in a way that is uncomfortable. You need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in life. We need to move through it because what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But genuinely, we feel so much better when we're able to overcome times of difficulties and challenges. One thing I like to think about with stress is, will I actually care about this a year from now? Will this actually matter? Will it have any effect to my life a year from now? And so if I think about that and I think in a year, absolutely not, then it allows me to reframe and think, okay, that's something that I can just leave right now. So what are 5 signs that you are overwhelmed or stressed? Number 1, your heart is racing or you find it hard to breathe. This is when your nervous system or your fight or flight response is in overdrive. So essentially when all of the negative energy is continuing to compile from your overthinking, from your stress, it all is trapped within. So it can't get out and it's just festering internally. Number 2, aches, pains, or dizziness. Sometimes your body just reacts differently when it's under a lot of pressure, when there's a lot of energy that's trapped within. Because it's using so much more energy than normal, it is going into overdrive and it's sort of the circulation within your body just isn't the same. Emotional and behavioral changes. So you might be moody, you might be crying easily, you might be angry. In the most extreme circumstance for me, and this is what I knew I needed to get things under control, is when I actually picked up and threw my laptop through the wall. I've never done that ever since. But I realized then, I was like, okay, I'm at peak stress right now. I'm really angry. What is going on? I wasn't able to do something on the laptop. I had so many other things going on. My mind was so full. I was under big deadlines and my laptop was not working. Like the keys weren't working. So I just picked it up and launched it and I left a hole within the wall. You know, that is a fairly clear indication that stress was getting the better of me, and I'm definitely worked on that. 4, you can't stay focused on tasks and you end up missing things that you would normally enjoy. So sometimes when we're so overwhelmed, because of all of the thoughts that are going through our mind, we just can't compartmentalize everything. You're so easily distracted because you're like, I have just so much to do. And because you're in this sense of overwhelm, your body tries to shut off, and therefore you end up not even doing anything that you would normally find enjoyable. So like if your friends wanted to go out, you'd be like, no, because you're just in this bubble. So you could start to decline invites from your friends. And number 5, you feel guilt or even a bit of anger if you've overcommitted to things. So it's really important sometimes to say no. Do you say yes to everyone when they're like, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Or do you offer, hey, I can help you with that, like proactively, when you know actually you don't have the bandwidth to take anything else on board? It's really important to be able to put yourself first. But those are the 5 key signs that you're going through sort of elements of stress or overwhelm. So if you're able to identify these signs, then it's easy to be able to do something about it and think, oh, okay, wow, this is how I'm feeling. So now I'm going to give you 5 ways to be more productive, which will help alleviate overwhelm and stress. Number 1, to do some form of physical exercise. So go for a walk, prioritize your heart. It's funny because when I was thinking about doing this episode, I was asking people around me, like, what do they do to manage stress? And the number one thing to come out of it was go to the gym or work out or go for a walk. And it's interesting because it's just such an important thing to do because you're getting your body moving, you're releasing that negative energy that's all caught up within your body, and you're able to do something for yourself. So going for a walk helps immediately. When I'm overwhelmed or I'm sitting and I'm doing a task and I don't have any innovation, it's like everything's blank and it's been blank for like a couple of minutes or whatever, I will always just pick myself up and I'll go for a walk. Because no matter what, after the first 5 minutes, that's when the ideas start flowing because the circulation's back in my body. I'm starting to feel like, okay, there are things bigger than just me inside this room looking at a computer. Like I've got the sky above me. I've got the path walk ahead of me, you know, like things are put into a perspective, a different perspective. Perspective is important. Second is phone a friend. Like, is there someone that you can talk to vent about life, have a bit of a laugh, or to even brainstorm if there's something that you're needing to talk about? I find that phoning a friend or my grandma has always been really, really important to me. I love nothing more than being able to have a laugh about absolutely nothing. And it also, again, with perspective, it puts things into perspective. You're only ever given things that you can handle. Like you can handle anything that's put in front of you. So sometimes by going for a walk or calling a friend, you're able to just put that into perspective and it allows you to remove yourself from the situation and then you can come back with a fresh set of eyes. 4, flip the script. So you think, okay, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. How can I turn this into a positive? So for me, when I was doing my keynote presentation and I was so stressed. The second time when I was asked to do a keynote, I would tell myself how excited I was about it. I am so excited about this keynote presentation. Every single time I caught myself saying something negative about myself or having negative thoughts, I would just flip the script and I would just say that I was really happy to do this. I'm the person for the job. I know what I'm doing, etc., etc. It is difficult when you're in a heightened level of stress because sometimes I remember myself saying, oh my gosh, I'm stressed. I'm so excited you can do this. Shut up, Nicki. The internal dialogue is never seamless, but it's also just about trying. It's also just about breathing. Number 5, taking a big fat breath. Just taking a breath and letting yourself sit with the feelings of being stressed. I know that sounds really counterintuitive because if you're stressed or overwhelmed, you're not doing anything. But by being really mindful about the fact that you need to take a moment, that can be very powerful too. I've read a lot about doing mindful meditation practices at times that you're stressed. That can certainly help for people. For me, I found that sometimes I've worked myself up so much or I'm feeling so overwhelmed. The thought of listening to someone give me a guided meditation would be enough for me to launch my laptop through the wall. But it's very, very important to take a deep breath and to stop. So if that works for you, that's amazing because it's very, very healthy to do that. For me, I just like to sit and just breathe and think to myself, this is okay. This is okay. And by breathing and being really conscious about the breaths, it's actually rewiring your whole brain. So by being just really conscious about things, it's just rewiring your whole brain. So just think, rewire me, prioritize tasks. So this, for me, is very, very important. If we think about when we're stressed, our minds are all over the place. We're overwhelmed, thoughts aren't happening. So the easiest thing to do is write everything down. What is everything that we need to do? Make it clear and then think about, okay, what are the things that I need to do and what are the deadlines? Just put everything out. So then everything that you're feeling, you're regurgitating it onto this sheet of paper. I'm a manual person. I like taking a pen and seeing it in ink. Reference it however you like. Write down everything that you need to do, everything that's bothering you. And then take 3 things that you need to do today and then bucket 3 to 5 things, depending on how big they are, 3 to 5 things. But I like to work in 3s. So 3 things, and then break out your day ahead of itself. So you know, okay, I'm going to allocate between 9 a.m. and 9:45 to this task here, this presentation, to gathering notes for this presentation from 9 until 9:45, 45 minutes. And then I'm going to take a 15-minute break, going to like loosen myself up. I might go for a quick walk around the block, might get a quick coffee. 10 a.m. until 10:30, I'm going to do this. Then I've got a meeting. Then I've got, and really get, I don't know, micromanage yourself to a degree where you feel on top of the tasks in front of you. So you may want to be a little more loose with it. So, okay, before lunchtime, I need to have done these 2 things. In the next 2 hours, so between 1 and 3, these are the things I need to have accomplished. Then I always usually say, by the end of the day, this is what I would have accomplished, and really think about it. How good will you feel when you know that this is what you've accomplished? This is what I swear by when I'm in that space of really, really stressed, because I think, if I just break things down into itty bitty little steps, then I know that I'm making progress. And little bits of progress make such a huge difference in the long run towards your goals. Most challenges are temporary, and it is a normal part of the human experience to go through stress. So there are 2 things. One, when you're feeling stressed, think, okay, thank you. Let's do this. How can I get on top of this? And the second part is, if you're stressing about something that's going to help you in life, think about, will I care about this in a year? Will I really care about what's going on in a year? If I won't, then throw it away. If I will, and I think, okay, this is going to make a difference, then break it down into steps. What do I need to do in order to get over this? What do I need to do in order to achieve this goal, this event, this, tackle this project, and then work from it in that way. I hope that this has been helpful. Let me know how you've overcome your stress, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time. Bye.